Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik. You've seen him on cable TV. Now hear his spirited conversation on the Talk of Chicago. The question at hand is raising voices of the Negro. That plain and simple. Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
Live from the Xfinity Studios, it's the station that America listens to, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's Matt Mcgill on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
All right, Chicago. Happy Tuesday. I am Ken Duncan, sitting in, if I can sit in this chair. I'm about to fall out of here. Sitting in for Matt Mcgill, my main man. Matty Matt is not here today. Let me apologize in advance that you all are not going to get the extraordinary Matt Mcgill, who sets the tone, and he's a consummate professional. He's excellent. He's one of the people that I look up to in radio. Matt is very good at what he does, certainly from my perspective. And so it's an honor to really sit in the chair in his honor for now, just for now. And so I need for all of you all in the next segment with the LaDonna and Atiba show, or Atiba and LaDonna show, to really express my apologies for not being with her. I know she's going to go into a state of conniption because I will not be there. So LaDonna Ray, I love you at a distance until next time. All right, so it is Tuesday. The weather is wonderful, and I've been walking all over the city of Chicago. I'm probably sweating like a pig. That's probably why Annette Flournoy left out of the room so fast, because I smell like outside. And so I think I walked maybe like 4 miles today, and here, all in the sun, just moving around downtown, but getting a lot of things done. So very excited to be here. And shout out to our intern, Kayla. Am I saying your name right? Kayla, all right. Look, Kayla over here doing her thing. And I love it. We got new faces, smart people, and just good vibration all day, every day. And I think we should celebrate as much as we can, as often as we should, because today, tomorrow is not necessarily promised to us. And this is the day the Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. I want everybody to go to the Facebook Live. Facebook Live, come on, WVON Live. You can see that I'm graying a little bit, but I can fix that. I know how to fix that. But hey, let me check it out. You know, makes me look mature. I think when you wear gray, ladies and gentlemen, you get grace in the hood. Young people, they act different around you. You know, and I love public transportation. I have no problems jumping on public transportation because I don't like being in traffic. But it's nothing for me to jump on the train or a bus. And when cats are acting a fool, I look at them or I say something. I've said plenty of things when people are getting out of pocket, especially younger men. Part of it is because, you know, I grew up in Chicago, born and raised out of Cabrini Green, and I ran the Boys and Girls Clubs in the Robert Taylor Housing Development for 5 years. And more importantly, I love Black people, and I don't apologize to nobody. And just because you love Black people does not mean you hate other people. It just means you love Black people, right? And so don't apologize for any of that love for our community. And so it's okay to talk with and to our young sisters and our young brothers and say, hey, man, don't do that. A lot of times, it's probably the first time somebody checked them since they got kicked out of school. Or they could be upper class, middle class folk acting a fool, and they just need parameters. They need structure. So I've been that guy, and it is what it is. I'm also not necessarily worried about too many things because what's going to be is going to be. And you definitely don't run up on me. Now, that's a fact. God bless you if you do. I'm going to treat you with the utmost, but don't do that, man. So big shout out to Brother David Mcgill. I'm sure you got something positive to say via the Matt McGill show. So we're going to cover a lot today. Today, there's a hell of a lot to be discussed. We're not just going to talk about Donald Trump. I know Donald Trump, and he makes the news cycle. He is in everybody's news feed. And really, I wonder what talk show hosts or talking heads on television and radio and podcasts would talk about if it was not for Donald Trump doing all that he does. It is a hoot times 10 and a head scratcher. And then, but I definitely want to get into the conversation. I spoke to the sister before, Angela Simpson Buckner, who is with the Jackson Advocate newspaper in Mississippi, regarding the Nolan West homegoing. That blows my mind every time I see it. And I said it right. Excuse me, Nolan Wells. She actually attended the funeral of Nolan Wells. So I am looking forward to certainly hearing back from the results of that, from what it felt like, because you can look at things on television, but there is nothing like being in the atmosphere of such an environment like that, homegoing for what looked like a very, very promising future that the brother had, Brother Rufus McGee, and Preston Shanks. Looks like he had a bright future for a lot of levels. You know, tall, good looking, 2-parent household, just a lot of promise, man. Just such a horrific situation that we've unfortunately seen enough of. So we will hear from Angela Simpson Buckner, who I talked with before, and she'll give us a Mississippi perspective because she was there at the funeral. Nolan Wells, brother, rest in peace and in heaven. We're going to take a break now, and I'll tell you about who our other guests will be. We'll be back here on the Talk of Chicago, the Matt McGill Show, here on WVON.
More from Matt McGill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Girl, where have you been?
My laundry got backed up. I had so much laundry, I felt like the help, but I found the truth.
You became a Jehovah's Witness?
I found Clean Break. For less than the price of a good meal, Clean Break washed and folded my clothes and had them smelling fresh the way I like.
It's gotta be inexpensive. You know all the hookups.
Darn Skippy. I wasn't about to pay no $100 for 2 bags of clothes, and I caught the WVON discount.
Girl, sign me up. I'm sold.
Try Clean Break today for just $25 per bag, including pickup and delivery. Call 708-980-7886 or visit cleanbreak.com. That's KLEANBREAK.com. Clean Break, fresh clothes, more free time. Get your weekends back.
So fresh and so clean, great.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken.
Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Now back to Matt Mcgill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Let's go have some fun. Let's go dancing. Let's go dance. Let's go dancing. Let's go have some fun. Let's go dancing. 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 We're not rich. We're not stars. Don't even drive expensive cars. We're just simple. We're simple and plain. Working hard for the things that we gain. Things may not be the way we want it to be, but it never stops us being happy. I said times rolls always right, 'cause we go dancing on Saturday night. Let's go dancing.
Let's go have some fun. Let's go dancing. Let's go dancing. Hey, let's go dancing. Robert, man, me, you, Kayla, Annette Flanoy, LaDonna Ray, Matt Mcgill, Melanie Hobson, Melanie Span Cooper, Sonia Walls, Cleopatra, Titus, both Matts, white Matt and black Matt. Man, we going dancing, Kayla. I'm going to have a party favor. As a matter of fact, WVON, I'm going to have an annual party, and I'm going to invite all of, Mike Burries, Fred Johnson, David Bugale, Brother Walls, Preston Shanks, Rufus, McGee, the whole now. We're going dancing. We're going to go dancing, and I'm going to curate the music. Y'all with me? Watch. We're going dancing. And everybody, we're going to dance and have so much fun that I'm taking my shirt off. We just going to dance because we're going to be sweating like that. So bring an extra blouse, bring an extra T-shirt and a towel. We're going to be hot and sweaty, y'all. And I swear to God, we're going to dance so much, I'm taking my shirt off. That might end the party. I don't know, but I want everybody to come there. Oh, and Kim, what's my girl name? Kim Williams. I want to dance with her too. I've been trying to get her out. Right, Lee Williams? We are going dancing, y'all. And we're going to have some fun, just like the song says. Let's go dancing, dancing. Let's go have some fun. Let's go dancing, dancing. Let's go dancing. Da, 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 da. Let's go dancing. Boom, boom. Man, it's a cut. Classic. Can't go any wrong. Anyway, so let me get back to the other part. We're gonna talk with Nolan, the sister Angela who went to Nolan Wells' homegoing. We're certainly gonna definitely get deep into that. And then we're gonna talk with Elvia Malagon. She is a health reporter with the Chicago Sun-Times. Can you imagine having a health reporter? That's luxury, man. And it's so needed. And so we're gonna talk about this extreme heat. And that's not just uncomfortable, but it's increasingly deadly because there's some there's a new investigation by the Chicago Sun-Times and WBEZ. They found 6 people in Cook County died from heat-related causes so far this month. So July has been the hottest month for all of us and the city of Chicago. But let me say this here. People, when you see someone on the street and it's like 85 plus degrees and they have all of their clothes on or a coat on, I'm going to encourage you to say something or to call 311 because they're that's a mental crisis. And I wonder if the coroner's office would articulate to us those who died were heavily ensconced with a big coat or a sweater on. That's serious mental health. I think we have to come up with some type of preventive intervention that really intercedes them having an unnecessary death, and all they have to do is just get comfortable. And just bring them a bottle of damn water, cold water. Or just somehow, I don't know, I don't have the answer. But Elvira Malagon, who is a health reporter from the Chicago Sun-Times, she's gonna enlighten us on what it is that she experienced and what we should do. But we have to get a health expert on, especially with folk addressing and dealing with this homeless population. So I'm looking forward to talking with her a little later on in the show. Also, I wanted to talk about, I know I sent this to Matt, and maybe he covered it yesterday because I didn't listen to all of the show. I want to talk about that situation with Spain, the soccer team, Spain and Argentina, and the overall dynamic with some of these teams that were just really showing they were showing their butt. And some of them were acting a fool, calling players monkeys, throwing bananas at them. There was a lot of nutty stuff that I would say that America's never seen, but that would be a blasphemous lie because they probably got it off of us here in America. But that was the world on display, and really some of the bias that surprised the heck out of me. So I'm very curious to hear what callers have to say at some point, because that stuff cannot be a part of the norm. But it was an interesting scenario. I'm glad Argentina did not win another championship in such a short period of time. I wish that Cape Verde had been the Cinderella team to have beaten Argentina and carried it all the way. Cape Verde, as you know, is a population under 500,000 off the coast, I want to say, of Senegal, somewhere near there on the West Coast. Very interesting population, but they were not expected to do as well as they did. And I heard, and I saw that Argentina game that was well viewed. They gave them the business. And somehow Argentina came back within the last several minutes with 2 goals. But Cape Verde, watch them next year. They are the bombdiggity.com. But, I want to hear from you. What are you doing that's interesting this summer? What's going to be fun and enlightening? We talk about a lot of doom and gloom, but tell us, what is it that is about fun life, that's something that's different that you did not do ever, or even over the last 10 summers that you are looking forward to doing? All right. 591-1690, 591-1690. I am very, very interested and just really being enlightened at times by the listeners, the callers. Something that's refreshing, something that's up-tempo, because we still have a lot of summer left. All right. So let me start with, should I start with Angel, my man Angel? Let's go. Brother Angel, what's good?
Hey, how you doing? Where were you at last Friday? I wait for you to get on the radio every Friday.
Right on, brother.
Last Friday you didn't show up. I'm like, what the?
I was in Dallas, actually.
You don't show up.
I appreciate that.
Oh, were you?
I was in Dallas. Yeah.
That's
my family.
I tried to call it.
Family reunion. That's all good. I was in my family reunion.
Oh, nice. No, I tried to call up yesterday, but I didn't get a chance. When people come to this country, they should behave, not act like the way these people acted. But then again, you can't control stuff like that. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Right.
People are people. We have people in this country that do the same thing, on the gay parade,
Absolutely.
whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Well, can I make one quick comment?
Sure.
I saw an article where the guy from Minnesota, the governor, Walz is his name, Tim Walz.
Yes, Minnesota.
Tampon Tim.
Tampon Tim. Oh my goodness, who does that?
No, they do. Look at
Yeah, I think you're right. I saw that. That's hilarious.
You know what he did?
What?
I heard he's not running. I heard he's never going to run for office, and I'm thinking that's a blessing. And then what kind of job should he get? Well, you know what I say? Give him a contract, $50,000 for 1 year to get all the tampons out of little boys' washrooms.
Oh my goodness!
No, seriously, he put tampons in boys' washrooms. That's one reason why I left the Democratic Party. I'm sorry.
What?
That's why. That's one reason. Guys playing women's sports, this and that, anti-police. You know, that's why I left the Democratic Party. From now on, I'm going to study the candidate. I don't care if he's Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. That's the way I'm going to vote. I'm not sticking with the Democratic Party. I'm sorry. And this socialism and communist is stupidity. Anyway, I love your show. And don't ever miss another Friday.
Roger that, brother Angel. Later. Much love and respect to you too, my brother.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Tampon Tim. I'm done, Angel. He keeps it pumping. All right, 591-1690, 591-1690. The lines are open. We'll be back here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It is sunny today with a high of 86. Good afternoon. I'm Kayla Patton in for Annette Flournoy, who's on assignment, and here's what's happening. Speaking of some summer fun, the annual Chicago Gospel Fest is making a return to Millennium Park this weekend, July 24th through the 25th. The free two-day celebration has anchored the city's summer festival calendar for 4 decades. Saturday programming will expand with a tent hosting live broadcasts, gospel DJs, and community choir performances throughout the afternoon. The fest will also feature a star-studded roster of talent at the J. Pritzker Pavilion in Millennium Park. This year's festival features headlining performances from Hezekiah Walker and Love Fellowship Choir and Tasha Cobbs Leonard. Well, another event, all eyes are on Chicago as the city gets set to host the WNBA All-Star Weekend for the second time, with the league also celebrating their 30th anniversary. A roster of special events will take place this weekend, with the All-Star Media Day and practice kicking off at the Obama Presidential Center, a skill competition at Wintrust Arena, and a fan experience at Pioneer Court, where fans are able to play basketball and meet WNBA players. And Saturday is, of course, the big game at the United Center. Those who don't have tickets to the big game can go and watch at Chicago Sky Official Watch Party at Press Box Chicago at 47th West Polk Street in the South Loop. Well, the Chicago Public School budget battle is still ongoing. The school district held its first public hearing yesterday to address a spending plan with a huge budget gap. Perry Williams has more.
School district held its first public hearing yesterday to address a spending plan with a $732 million budget gap. CPS CEO Macquillan King says several teachers who were laid off should be able to get rehired soon.
We have 1,700 vacancies that are available for our teachers, and we expect about 65 to 85% of those teachers will find new homes.
The budget only needs a simple majority to pass. A vote is expected on July 30th. I'm Perry Williams.
The city is still in the midst of a major policy fight over new tenant protections with 2 competing proposals. The battle took center stage yesterday at City Hall. One measure is proposed by Mayor Brandon Johnson that calls for just cause requirements for landlords to evict tenants, and several supporters backed the ordinance during a rally held yesterday. Meanwhile, a group of aldermen, including Gilbert Villegas, opposes the mayor's proposal and have come up with their own. The new plan eliminates the just cause provision and allows lease non-renewals with required notice periods ranging from 30 to 120 days. Both proposals will most likely be delayed due to the city council set to go on break after this week's meeting. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. I'm Kayla Patton.
A new episode of Mama I Made It is here. This month, award-winning journalist Samantha Chapman sits down with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker for a candid conversation about leadership, public service, and the issues shaping the future of our state. From the challenges of governing to the people and experiences that have shaped his journey. This is a side of the governor you won't want to miss. Stream the new episode of Mama I Made It only on Vaughn TV. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, the WVON app, and at VON.TV.
I was having a medical procedure, and I wanted to ensure my kids would get my home should something happen to me. I called attorney Ted London. He provided the land, trust, and power of attorney. Now my kids would not have to go through the probate process.
After the death of my husband, I had to get my affairs in order. I called attorney Ted London. Now my family and home will not have to go through the probate process.
773-721-3333. Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, Chicago, we are black here on the Matty Matt show. Hey, look, I'm not gonna do this show no more because nobody want to dance with me. The intern, the switchboard, Sonya, that's cool. Playing all these jams for nothing. Y'all don't appreciate nothing when it comes to some good deep underground house music. It's all good. Let me go to Mark Carter real quick. Mark, hey Mark, man, I owe you a call, man. Charge it to the head, not to the heart, my brother. What's good? King Carter. Hey Mark, you are on mute. Hey, Mark Carter.
Hello.
Going once?
Yeah, I'm here.
Come on now, man. It's airtime, brother. You ain't paying for this.
My bad, man.
Come on.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen, Ken. It's time you get your own show for the manly men. Those of us.
He said manly man.
Huh? Yeah, man, because you got a lot of Tinkerbells, you know, be listening in and cry babies and stuff like that. We don't need no cry.
What's a Tinkerbell? I haven't heard that term since the 80s.
This is.
Oh my God! Come on now, Mark.
So I'm saying we need to have a manly conversation. You know, a lot of these other shows, they perfectly fit for women and feminists and little Tinkerbells. We need a manly man show where we get to the bottom of things. Like the guy that called in, all of us that called in. And I'm glad you left that Democrat Party. You have no business over there where you got to take orders from people like Mike Madigan. Who the hell he think he is? You know?
Hey, look, Mark, I asked the same damn question down there for 15 years. I'm like, wait a minute. We letting this chump, he was as corrupt and open as the sky. And nobody opened their damn mouth.
Right. And see, a lot of these people, man, they cowards, and we can't make men out of them. Man. Let's stop trying to make men out of them. We got to do what we need to do, because eventually what we do is going to help them anyway, and then they'll realize it's helping them anyway. You know, and so you need a show to where we get on this radio and we guide our people to solutions. I get tired of hearing about problems. I don't want to hear about no Trump and no 99% Democrat state from top to bottom. You telling me about what Trump is doing? No, you will talk about what these black politicians and these other ethnic groups are doing, because they got the power. The city council don't have no Republicans in it. Nowhere in the city of Chicago do you have Republicans in power, but nobody wants to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that these are Democrats doing that.
Well, Mark, you know the automatic election is nonpartisan.
But yeah, okay.
So you don't declare. You do have some conservatives in there.
No.
They're just scared.
They are Democrats. No, they say it's nonpartisan. But
I'm clear.
All them on some Democrats taking orders from the Democrat Party. It's just like the governor. If we say he ain't gonna be governor, what can he do? His people less than 1% of this state. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got no power. He ain't nobody because he got some money. We'll take his money and go against him.
And that's so check this out.
Man,
I tell Negroes this here. Just because you're rich, be it inheritance or you earn it, or you're in power politically at the automatic level, at the governor's level, doesn't mean that you're smarter. You know what the hell you're doing at all.
And it don't mean that automatically you can just win because you got money.
Exactly.
Look, the Irish people less than 11% of this city, the Jewish people less than 2% of the city, and them other groups even less than that, right? Less than the Irish and you know what I mean? And so we got the vast majority. And I tried to say that the other day. Well, the young lady, she begged to differ, but I ain't got time to be talking to her, going back and forth with nobody that don't understand how things work here. But there's no such thing as there ain't nobody white in America but Anglo-Saxon Protestants. The rest of these other people, they're not the same people. The Irish ain't the Italians ain't the Jews. That's why they all come to black people to win in these elections.
Every time.
Because they don't stick together with each other. They hate each other.
Man, look here. You telling me?
It's our advantage, huh?
Look here, brother. If you understand an iota of European history, you will see some of the most venomously terroristic, heinous war crimes against humanity when Europeans fought each other.
Look at when they were with the balkanism and all. Man, but we ain't got to get off to that. They need to go read for themselves. We know. So this is about us understanding right here in Chicago, where we are no different than Atlanta, Georgia, Memphis, Tennessee, Detroit, Michigan. These are majority black cities. We got the largest voting block in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
And so to hear black men crying, man, I don't want to talk to them. Especially you're over 50 years old. We over 50. And you got black men on the radio crying, talking about some white supremacy.
And that's
men don't cry about other men.
All right.
That's not what we do. So that's you need to get a show. As Melody, they get you a show where we get on here and talk about black people and solutions.
That part.
Our people started the Republican Party.
How about we do this here, Mark?
Don't even know that.
How about if we start Friday? Because I have a guest on the other line and I want to get to it. Let's start Friday from 3 to 6 this Friday.
Yes, sir. That's what we need, man. Because I'm sick of these. I'm
gonna go talk to Melody and her husband and see if we can do this talk about solutions and black people from 3 to 6 on Friday.
And one last thing, and guiding these young people into ownership, home ownership, business ownership. Man, we ain't got time for no welfare programs. That's for people that need it when they're in hard times. We
legal citizens
and walk them into ownership. Show them how to get that 96% of the budget that go to everybody but us.
Come on now, Mark Carter, King Carter. I love you, brother. Appreciate you. All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, on another note, I want to talk about what occurred down in Mississippi. And I spoke to this sister before. She is, let me just say this here. Nationally renowned civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump. He's going to join the family of Nolan Xavier Wells at a news conference tomorrow at the 117th NAACP National Convention right here in Chicago. That's pretty big because he's on the hottest case. But Ben Crump he's been on the hottest cases, the most important pivotal cases in Black America, in America in general. So he'll announce the preliminary findings of an independent autopsy, which all of us are waiting on, conducted on behalf of the family. Nolan, who was only 18, he traveled, as you know, by boat with some so-called friends to Horn Island, Mississippi. And on July 4th, no doubt, to celebrate the holiday, with his friends, the so-called friends, when the group came back to shore, came home or returned, Nolan was not with them. And on the morning of July 6th, the United States Park Ranger, found his body at the northwestern tip of Horn Island. And so on July 18th at NAACP, National Board of Directors adopted a resolution of condolences for the family that calls on local, state, and federal authorities, including the United States Department of Justice, to complete an in-depth study and open, transparent review of how Nolan came to be left on the island and all of the activities in the hours before his body was recovered. Ladies and gentlemen, on our guest right now on the live line is Angela Simpson Buckner. She is with the Jackson Advocate newspaper in Mississippi. She's also the co-founder of Mike Magazine. She attended just yesterday, Nolan Wells' funeral. Sister Angela Simpson Buckner of Mike Magazine, welcome back here on the Talk of Chicago.
Hey, man, Ken, it's great to be back on the show with you. I'm starting to feel like a regular now.
Oh, we family. you with us. We need your insight and your unique perspective on Mississippi. A lot's going on this right here now, and this is unifying the Black community on a whole nother level. It's galvanizing worldwide attention, and we ain't. When you get Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, on message and focus, it's nothing to play with. And let me tell you, you people of color, you minorities, and white folk, y'all better pay attention to the power of foundational Black Americans. We ain't nothing to play with, especially when you're doing us dirty.
When we come together, it's over.
What was it like? What was, we can imagine, we can fathom. What was that experience or the feeling, the vibration in Nolan Xavier Wells's homegoing yesterday, Sister Angela?
One thing I can tell you is that it was a historic moment. Why do I call it a historic moment? Because the last time we heard of something of this magnitude was during the time when Emmett Till was murdered, okay? And we got to remember, and Emmett Till's family was there. They represented very well on yesterday.
Wow.
You got to remember, Emmett was put in water, okay, after he was bludgeoned to death, okay? And this is historical information. This is not something that Angela Simpson Buckner from the Mike Magazine is making up. So water is always seeming to be involved when it comes to something of this magnitude. The being in the same room with the parents gave me a whole nother outlook on, how to look at this thing, because I was looking at it from an investigative journalist standpoint, meaning I had questions from all the way around, from the parents. I had questions for the parents on down, even Mississippi first and foremost.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
We had a lot of people saying, well, is that his real father? Well, I did speak with his father. He said, yes, I'm his biological father. It's a lot of things that people are asking. And, for some reason, when we get together for an event like this, you're going to have mainstream media come out, and they are generally shown preferential treatment. And so much so that yesterday, after the press conference, I was supposed to speak with Ben Crump along with the rest of my colleagues. And, there's one major outlet that was given more special treatment than others, and that's not a problem. I understand that. But generally, when something like that happens, the person who has the most influence turns around and say, hey, they're with me. Let them come too. But that didn't happen. And we're talking about a Black man who turned his back on legacy media right here in Mississippi. And we're the oldest Black-owned paper in the state of Mississippi. And we're going to talk about it. I spoke with one of my colleagues on the coast.
Angela, we're up against the break right now, and I definitely want us to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on the live line. With us is Angela Simpson Buckner. She's with Mike Magazine. We're talking about the homegoing services yesterday of Nolan Xavier Wells. We'll be back here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
More from Matt Mcgill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Some people wait for the future, others build it. WVON proudly presents the 2026 40 Game Changers Under 40. This year, it's a compass celebrating the navigators of next. Do you know an entrepreneur, community change agent, rising executive, educator, innovator, or a creator who is 40 or under and doing great work to help shape the future of Chicago? Or is that someone you? Now through July 17th, we're taking nominations. Visit 40gamechangers.com to submit your nominee. And then keep listening for updates on this year's exciting celebration. In 2026, our compass is on the navigators of next, because Chicago's future belongs to the people bold enough to lead it. Sponsored by BMO.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold. One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, Chicago, we are black here. I am Ken Duncan, sitting in for Matt McGill. Big shout out to my man, Matt. On our live line is Angela Simpson Buckner, who's with Mike Magazine. And she was actually at the Nolan Xavier Wells homegoing. She's giving us really the rundown. And shout out to all those who are on Facebook Live. I sincerely appreciate you. It means a lot. It means a lot. AJ Capone, Marquise Burden, Nathan Page. What's up, brother Nathan Page? Etc. Kendrick Horton, Mike Burrows, Lee Williams, etc. 591-1690, 591-1690. We're honored to have her on. Is drowning the new black lynching?
That is my perception. This is definitely the way that I explain it to my people, my viewers, because all of the water and things like that is attached to tragic death like this. And when we talk about Emmett Till's death, we cannot look over the fact that water was involved. I think somebody said he was pulled from the Tallahatchie River. Okay. And then you got others who say he was in another body of water. I mean, the story changes so many times, but the fact is he was murdered before he was placed in the water. Okay. And so water is definitely part of the element as it relates to, making certain that when they make announcements about deaths in the Black community, water is going to be involved. And the go-to thing is to say, well, they didn't know how to swim. They didn't know how to swim. And we know that this is not the case as it relates to Nolan Wells. Now, Nancy Grace is on the case. And
I saw her last night
about it.
Yes.
Nancy Grace is on the case, and I am glad about it.
Yes, we have an incredible presence. That's what I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
When foundational Black Americans get on an issue or get on your ass, the whole world, the nation is paying attention. You better look out because it's serious. One thing that white America knows, you don't want to mess around with Black Americans to the extent where we are fed up. When we flex, we flex. And it's not a brag. It's not something, it's not a boast. It's like we know wrong, we know dirt. And just like white people are tripping about, the federal government and ICE doing what it's doing, and they're seeing it in the flesh and thinking that stuff is a part of a Black nomenclature, and so it wasn't as dramatic as it is. They're seeing right now Black unity on this particular issue, and change is going to come where everybody benefits from it. And we're going to get to the bottom line of this here. And so I get incensed when I think of this young Black brother, because I have a Black son, Black nephews, Black cousins who are young, right? And we're not going to stand by and let nobody, ignorant, Black, white, brown, or whoever the hell, get away with nothing no more. And we're going to be accountable even in our own damn communities. So it's a new day. It's a new way of communicating. It's a new way of checking folk. Because here's what I tell people, and I'm going to talk to you. You can't get away with no crime today. Not no murder.
No.
Your phone pings every damn where. Cameras are everywhere. Even if there's no cameras, you're going to come within that vicinity somehow, some way. The digital footprint has made it almost impossible, very, very difficult to do malicious, heinous activities. So America, and specifically Black folk, we might as well stop doing heinous and murderous crimes like we don't got no damn sense. We better come up with a conflict resolution that deals with our anger, and we're gonna have to make it clear in our head that we are not going to be able to get away with too much of any damn thing when it comes to violent crime. What say you, Angela Simpson?
Absolutely. And when you were talking, it reminds me of Young Dolph, when Young Dolph was murdered in broad daylight. And it brings tears to my eyes, because at that time, Thaddeus Matthews, they call him the cussing pastor. He led the charge as independent media in making sure that we solve that crime ourselves in this day and age. And again, like you said, with digital footprints, there's no way you can get away with what happened. And we do know that with independent media and our Black people putting their minds at work, and those who didn't have to go to work, we were so busy trying to solve the case for Young Dolph and see who it was who did that to him. And now when you're talking about that digital footprint, it reminds me there's a guy out there who says, hey, do you know that it's possible to change the date on Instagram for your picture? But there is still a timestamp. That original timestamp is there, and it would have to take a forensic analysis to lift that original date, because there was a picture floating out there of them in a pool. And so I didn't really make too much noise about it, because they came back and said, aha, we got you. The date was on the 27th of June. We don't care. We do not care. All we know is that when we get together, and what I love about it, we got Blacks and whites. Yesterday, they showed up in record numbers at this baby's funeral. We got documentation of them paying their final respects. And when we have Reverend Al Sharpton saying, hey, I'm going to put up $50,000, and, people are saying that we're here for money. They're sending this mother horrible mail to her home with her crying over her son, and all she wants are answers, and you're sitting there and you're poking fun at her for wanting answers. He said, well, I'll put 50,000. And then he came back and said, I guess Tyler Perry is watching, because he is now going to match that $50,000 for reward money for someone who's going to come forth. And when we talk about Ben Crump, he is about to make this announcement.
Yes, here in Chicago.
About to tell us autopsy in Chicago, because that's where everybody is right now at the conference for NAACP. Right. And so this may be new to some, but it's not new to us. And if you're on with us on social media at the Mike Magazine, you will see the press release on the screen. They are about to take advantage of the fact that all cameras will be watching.
Right.
And they're going to make that announcement at a monumental time with the NAACP, Derek Johnson, the president, available to speak on this as well.
Yeah. So, Angela Simpson Buckner of Mike Magazine, what do you what do you hope that Ben Crump's presentation at the NAACP, he's doing that conference today or tomorrow?
That press conference is going to be in the morning at 8:00 in Chicago.
Tomorrow, Wednesday morning.
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be serious news. What do you expect? What do you hope that it reveals?
Well, because I wasn't in that press conference on yesterday, and I didn't get an opportunity to ask them why was the casket closed, I think Ben Crump is going to actually answer that question.
Okay.
I think they're going to tell us why that casket was not open on yesterday. Because one thing about it, when I chimed in on yesterday with Cleopatra at WVON,
yes,
I told her that I was kind of disappointed because when you call it a viewing, that is exactly what we expect, but we didn't get a viewing. Now, what we did view were pictures of him and his state when he was at his height in his career. And we saw videos of him from childhood up until his time of death, where he was just in his height of his career as a student athlete. I believe that was my only question. That would have been my only question. Why would you have us here under the well, it was published saying that there will be a viewing, and why didn't we get an opportunity to view him? And I believe on tomorrow, Ben Crump is about to drop a bombshell, just as nasty as what Nancy Grace is about to do on her platform.
Oh, she has some unique evidence as well.
Well, she's been interviewing people who are have been unnamed. So what Nancy is doing now, I truly believe Nancy is going to get down to the unnamed park ranger, because they keep saying a park ranger, a park ranger. No. We need to know who the park ranger was. Why is there so many unanswered questions when it comes to Nolan Wells and this situation? And it's similar to what was going on with Emmett Till. All of the back and forth, not knowing, and made me having to cry countless days, nights. I'm told that, in Chicago, you all have a place there designated for the Till family, and I've yet to see it. But when I come back to Chicago this month, I plan on making a visit to that location. But again, Emmett Till name comes to mind whenever I think of Nolan Wells. And now it is being reported that the mother has filed a lawsuit. And what people don't understand, this is a smart move. I'm looking in the comment section. What is filing a lawsuit going to do? A discovery. We can get your text messages. We can get, it's not so much as money. And so people got to get out of their mind that this mother wants money. She's a nurse practitioner.
Oh my goodness. Come on now. That's a deviation.
Money. Okay, stop it.
So
we don't need money.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Angela Simpson Buckner on with Mike Magazine. Whether take a break, Angela, you will be staying over the break with us. We got to hear some more from you because I have more questions for you. We love you being with us. We'll be back here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I've got news for us by us, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here are your news headlines. Ford recalls nearly 388,000 SUVs over seat defect. Chicago Public Schools hold public hearings on budget with $700 million shortfall. Trump administration freezes over $1 billion in Medicaid payments, and LeBron won't be rushed into decision. National news from the Black Information Network's up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
VIN News Now. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says U.S. operations against Iran will continue until President Trump's objectives are met.
The president is always looking for the diplomatic off-ramp. President Trump wants to end it with a peaceful agreement with Iran, but it takes two parties to do that.
Speaking on ABC's This Week, Wright called the mission vital to regional stability and said the administration remains focused on preventing future threats. Paramount Skydance has scored an early win in the legal fight over its proposed merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. A federal judge stepped aside after the company raised conflict concerns, and a new judge has now taken over the antitrust case. And rapper Designer is facing another domestic violence case after being arrested in South Carolina. Authorities say he allegedly damaged property during a dispute with his partner and chased her from the home. This marks his second domestic violence-related arrest of the year. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's more with Terry McCready.
Senator Elizabeth Warren is endorsing Abdul El Sayed in the Michigan Senate primary. The Massachusetts senator added her name to the list of progressives endorsing El Sayed and praising him for growing a movement of working people all across Michigan. Warren's endorsement video also argued that El Sayed was the only candidate who can build the grassroots movement needed to win in November. He's facing off against Congresswoman Haley Stevens, who has the support of the Congressional Black Caucus, retiring Senator Gary Peters, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. The U.S. launching a new round of strikes against Iran. In a post on X, U.S. Central Command said it began conducting strikes late yesterday afternoon at the direction of President Trump.
It's tragic to lose American lives, but this is a mission that will save countless lives going forward. His focus is on degrading the Iranian ability to terrorize the world.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright on ABC's This Week. CENTCOM said the strikes were designed to further degrade Iranian military capabilities used to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, the president attending the dignified transfer of 2 U.S. soldiers killed in Iranian attacks in Jordan taking place at Dover Air Force Base today. 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez of Texas was killed on Friday, and 25-year-old Tyler Freehan of Hawaii died on Saturday. The Iranian attack also left another soldier missing. New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani is being a bit coy in defining what it means to be part of the working class. During a news conference, he tackled the question of whether he believes he falls under that label.
I would consider myself the mayor of our city. What I mean by that is, I said it the other week that I haven't knocked on anybody's door in New York City and they've told me their concern is the mayor makes too little. My focus is on those who are struggling to afford life in this city.
During a New York Times podcast, Mamdani said the definition of working class is expanding as costs continue to rise. He said housing and child care are 2 sectors where too many New Yorkers are struggling to make ends meet. All right, August is closing in and some supplemental security beneficiaries may not receive their usual payment. The month begins on a Saturday, which is something of a stumble for those who receive supplemental security income. Payments are for those with disabilities and older adults with little to no income. This year, the monthly maximum benefit is $994 for eligible individuals, around $1,500 for those with an eligible spouse, and $500 for an essential person. August is the 4th month this year in which regular supplemental security payments will not be sent out on the first day of the month. Payments will go out on Friday, July 31st. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
In July, Vine TV has your summer watch list covered. Go behind the headlines with the official launch of Portraits in Color, featuring candid conversations with music executive Matthew Knowles, community leader Jotaka Edie, and actress Danielle Truitt.
My family's very proud. It was very cool to, when the show first came out and to see myself in those credits, with dun 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 dun, and be like, that's me. That's crazy, It is very cool to be a part of the legacy of Law & Order now.
And that's just the beginning. Premiering this month, Serenity, Strength, and Style with Sylvia Ewing and Friends, a fresh new series featuring inspiring conversations about health, wellness, creativity, and living life to the fullest. This July, there's something for everyone on Vine TV. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or at Vine.tv. Vine TV, for the culture, by the culture.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. so you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Live from the Xfinity Studios, it's the station that America listens to. WVON, Berlin, Chicago. It's Matt Mcgill on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
Nolan Wells bombshell tonight. The dead teen's messages deleted after his body washes ashore. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
You heard that from Nancy Grace, and I'm going to tell you when Black.
We're back.
Yes. Oh, we are Black, Angela. Absolutely. I'm on the live line is Angela Simpson Buckner, who is with Mike Magazine. She is down in Mississippi. She actually covered the case and then some. She was at the funeral yesterday. She was in attendance. She is spot on, and she is our post of what is going on down there. So you've been reporting on this from the beginning. When it was just us, when Nancy Grace was not a part of this conversation, and other reporters, other non-Black reporters, what dynamic can come out of this now that it's mainstream? Because and by the way, we didn't ask white folk to report on this. We were talking amongst ourselves and demanding that we receive and get justice, and was not going to stop. And so, but my point is, this speaks to the power of foundational Black Americans when we make our mind up and focus on what the hell it is that we want and that concerns us. And things don't have to be perfect. Things don't have to be perfect in our community or in our household. We don't got to be rich. Yeah, we know there's crime that happens in Black communities, and I'm talking to the listening audience. But these are moments where it's a rallying cry when we come together and we ignite a fuse in America. And people like Nancy Grace and others, even some of those Black tethers, if you will, join in, because this Black train of justice and fairness, once it starts moving, everybody wants to get on, which is fine. But this is the power of foundational Black Americans making up our mind and deciding that we're going in this direction, and we go hard and we go strong. What does a Nancy Grace and now mainstream media, what is their impact and what influence will it have on Ben Crump's presentation of evidence tomorrow and the result of this case? What's your take on that, Angela Simpson Buckner?
Well, for one thing, you packed a heavy punch, because I want to double back and talk about the importance of independent media. You said, hey, we were on it before the media
Absolutely
got on Twitter. And I have to shout out my boy Kelvin Barnett. Kelvin, Kealvin, Kelvin Barnett on the coast. Okay, so he's been keeping people aware of what's going on. And I would love for you to interview him as well, because when I tell you I take no credit, they were boots on the ground already when he first came up missing, and the mom sent out that bat signal, because that's what I'm going to call it.
Okay.
She sent that. Listen, when Mama Boo Bear sent out that bat signal and said that, hey, my baby is missing, all of the aunties and uncles of social media stepped up to the plate, and we're going to continue to step up to the plate to the point where people are going to have to bring other plates because it's going to overflow, so much so that when they realize Mississippi is on to something and we have a major coalition as it relates to grassroots Black media, they are going to respect us moving forward. And again, doubling back to CNN being able to be let in the building, generally a well-seasoned Black journalist would turn and say, hey, she's with me. But that didn't happen on yesterday. But that's why in Mississippi, we're dealing with a different beast. And that's why I'm so glad that the people on the coast were the ones who led the charge. I'm so glad that Mama Boo Bear went and got Attorney Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, and a lot of people are trying to give her a pushback because of it. But guess what? I am glad that she did it, because they bring along with them a prestige that is so different. And so we're going to keep it going on grassroots level.
Yes.
We're going to reach the everyday person. But when we're talking about Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, if he's making this announcement tomorrow about that autopsy, the whole world is going to be watching. And like Judge Carlos Moore said, this is no longer a Mississippi thing. This is a worldwide situation. And even Judge Carlos Moore, and I pray that you guys can get him on the show. He's been getting backlash in the comment section.
Who is this?
So much so that I asked him in an interview yesterday about a comment that he made where he said, F you and your mama. And so he graciously explained what he meant when he said F you and your mama. He said, that means I forgive them. He said, I'm a Christian man first and foremost, but I forgive you and I forgive your mama because your mama is the one who had you. Okay, so we are the new grown people in Mississippi,
right?
And that's what I'm trying to say.
Wow.
We're the new grown people.
That, you know what, that is, I'm going to go to Brother Hall. He's on the Talk of Chicago. Brother Hall, what says you this afternoon, my friend?
Hey, Ken.
Yes, you got to take me on speaker. Come on to the mic so we can hear you real good, Brother Hall.
Yeah, I'm coming to the mic now.
You know the rules.
My wife's dinner, brother.
All right.
Listen, let me thank this sister for coming on and sharing what she's sharing with us. Because, see, this is one of our biggest problems, Ken, and I think the sister will agree with me as well. When we allow elected officials to not to address the little issues, and it becomes a problem, a big problem, because then whatever happens, they say, oh, we'll be okay. We'll work it out. Well, it seems that we have not worked it out. And this is the reason why folks do what they do to us, because they don't see us putting no traction to nothing, brother.
How do you mean, huh?
We got a black bloc. The man just told you a few minutes ago. Iris is less than 3%. Somebody 1%. I'm not anti. I'm just pro. When you operate from that perspective, you have no problem. You get the respect. But when you think that you got to wrestle with brown and orange and all this, that's not happening, brother. They'll come aboard when they see the right thing. Let me lastly say this. You just had a piece over there with Tom Dark. He's hiding that, man. What's going to happen tomorrow? Are they going to burn up 20 of us or lynch us and put us out on the front of State Street? We don't know. What I do know is that we have elected officials who have suits, but they don't wear them, man. We got to stop being tricked and bamboozled. And that's what's happening with us. Thank you, sister, for doing all you do. I appreciate it. Much love and respect, Ken.
All right, right on, Brother Hall.
Absolutely.
You care to respond, Angela? You know what? Tell you what. Let's respond after the break, real quick, because listen, you guys, you're packed with so much. We're on the live line with Angela Simpson Buckner, who's with Mike Magazine. She's out of Mississippi. She's giving us the real deal Holyfield. We'll be back here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
More from Matt Mcgill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
A new episode of Mama I Made It is here. This month, award-winning journalist Samantha Chapman sits down with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker for a candid conversation about leadership, public service, and the issues shaping the future of our state. From the challenges of governing to the people and experiences that have shaped his journey. This is a side of the governor you won't want to miss. Stream the new episode of Mama I Made It only on Vaughn TV. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, the WVON app, and at VON.TV.
Ada S. McKinley provides behavioral and mental health services at 4 Southside clinics. They serve people of all ages with a strong focus on therapy, counseling, and youth crisis. Their counselors and mental health professionals are well-trained and experienced in treating problems caused by emotional distress and or trauma. To schedule an appointment, call 312-761-1099 or visit adasmckinley.org.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more. I just took a COVID test. Ugh. Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer. Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more. I just took a COVID test. Ugh. Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's Rufus Williams. Every weekday morning from 7 to 9, I break down what's really going on, politics, power, and the people shaping our communities. Think of it like your morning newspaper, headlines, context, and what it actually means. So you can take it in, sit with it, and move smarter through your day. If you're part of the Roo Crew, you already know. And if you're watching on Facebook Live, the comments are a whole other show. A family reunion happening in real time. Listen live or on the WVON app, or join us on Facebook Live. It's the Rufus Williams Show, weekdays 7 to 9, right here on 1690 WVON.
Now back to Matt Mcgill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Man, that is a jam. Go ahead with my playlist, Robert. Well, Ken Duncan's playlist on the Matt Mcgill Show. Hey, that boy got a good remembrance. Keep those. All you gotta do is go to my old text message, Rob, and bang it out. On our live line with us is Angela Simpson Buckner, who was with Mike Magazine. She is down in Mississippi, and she's been following this case. I know I cut you off. Bring us back up to speed with the white media picking this up and how that can add value because Black aunties and uncles and nephews and nieces, or aunties and uncles, sent out that back signal. Go ahead, Angela. Angela Simpson Buckner. You must have me on mute, Angela.
Okay, yes. Well, I'm sorry. What was that question?
I said I'm very happy to hear that people know when auntie and uncles, when we sent out that bat signal and how we responded.
Yes.
How is it? So what can we anticipate with tomorrow's press conference at the NAACP 117th convention here in Chicago at McCormick Place tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock?
I think we can anticipate Derek Johnson, who's the president, speaking and standing 10 toes down with the family, and Attorney Ben Crump, since that bat signal did go out. We're taking this thing seriously, kind of like what happened with Montgomery when the young man threw the hat up, and people came to the rescue.
Oh my
Black
goodness.
people were swimming.
What?
Black people were swimming that day. We know how to swim, okay? So when it came to them helping that man get some help, assisting him,
hold on one second,
that day.
Angela. For those who may have forgotten or who just missed it altogether, tell us what happened in Montgomery, Alabama. What was that, last year or a few years ago?
I think it was like 2 years ago. So August 5th.
Walk us through it again. That was
it was
deep. That was hilarious on a whole nother level, man. Especially with the brother swimming. Go ahead.
Again, we're talking about the new grown-ups, right? And so people are, leave us alone. We do really well when we are left to ourselves, right? And we don't ask for people to come and mess with us. We're not bothering anybody. Well, anyways, he was working for the boat. I think he did something on the boat.
He did work for the boat. And he's been nice.
He was at work.
Yeah.
And he told the people on a different boat, hey, you can't come through here. Well, instead of them listening, they wanted to cause an altercation. And
they started attacking him.
People started. And what I love about it, we were recording this incident. And the world got to see folks get their butt whooped with chairs. Folding chairs were very popular 2 years ago. When I see a folding chair in Walmart, I think about what happened with the Montgomery Brawl. Y'all go and Google the Montgomery Brawl. We had a black boy swimming.
Yes.
And he was swimming like he was in a race.
In Olympics.
And then, listen, once he got there, he didn't care that he was slippery wet. He went to business because that cap was a bat signal.
Yes.
That cap he threw up in the air was a bat signal. And Mama Boo Bear sent out a bat signal to all of us, black and white, letting us know, hey, my baby is missing. We say less. That's your baby. He our baby now. He our baby too. Because he's kind of like Emmett Till figure now. He is a public figure. And I know she gave birth to him. I know dad is the biological dad, but he's our baby now. And we're going to help you, to get justice for this baby. And again, it said that she is filing a lawsuit, maybe Ben Crump tomorrow. We'll talk about that lawsuit if there's some truth to that as well, to let us know why she's filing it again. I'm just curious as to know what Derek Johnson is going to say on the stage on tomorrow in Chicago at the NAACP convention. I'm very interested to see myself. I wish I was in Chicago, so y'all going to have to hold it down for us down here in Mississippi.
Absolutely. We actually covered it. Matt Mcgill of all folks, since I'm doing the show, he covered it yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah, Monday. He covered it yesterday. He was right there. So WVON, independent Black-owned radio, is all the rage. And it speaks to the 63-year history of WVON in Chicago. If you run for any office, if you're trying to get something done, you undoubtedly and intelligently better go through WVON. This is plain and simple as
Come
that.
on now.
Right? And
Exactly.
so that's why we appreciate you, Angela Simpson Buckner, because you and Mike Magazine just make it plain and make it clean. We are more than relevant, and the tragedy that all of us are suffering from. And I love it when Black people make folks say their name. We put a human element to this. It's that serious.
That's true.
And I said this yesterday. I should have pulled this brother up. I should have played what he said. This brother, he's a therapist, and he stated he's probably mid-60s, early 70s. He says there's something that Black parents need to be clear about. That having your kid in a predominantly or an all-white environment is not smart, it's not good, and it does not mean that kid is safe or that you have elevated, because out of a lot of, because things like what occurred with Nolan Wells can potentially happen. Everybody doesn't like us. Everyone does not get a fair and an honest conversation if you're white in their household. They get a biased, hateful, venomous conversation towards black folk, right? And you're more susceptible, according to this guy, this doctor, and I'll get his information. I'll play him sometime, maybe even have him on the show. But he says too many blacks think that they've arrived when they're in an all white environment, not predominantly, but all white, and that they have arrived. And he says, unfortunately, and he says he's not accusing the Wells family of any of this, but we need to be very cognizant of having our kids in all white environment. I don't think that's healthy for a kid, for white kids either, quite frankly, but especially for black kids, given the history of America.
Exactly, and I understand the sentiments that he's sharing in when it comes to black children being surrounded by whites. But we have to remember, when we have babies who say they're military brats, or children whose parents are always working and things like that, they are going to try and put them in the best atmosphere possible, and they're not wrong for trying to get what's best for their children. Now, for the average family, we send our children to public schools.
Yeah.
But what I appreciate is when I can find a mayor who sends his children to public school, when I can find predominant black people who serve in the capacity where we're supposed to look up to their leadership qualities and skills. They are walking the walk and putting their children in public school as well. And Tyler Perry, speaking of Tyler Perry, has a movie out there, and I think they stopped through Mississippi. Well, anyways, the granddad is babysitting his 18-year-old grandson for the summer, and he takes them to all of these different places. He has not a clue what happened in Alabama, what happened in Tennessee with Martin Luther King. He doesn't have a clue because he was so out of place when it came to his own culture. And I would suggest any family go out and watch that Tyler Perry movie. I can't think of the name of it, but it came out this year.
All right, I gotta check that out.
Yes. And I'm going to get that name for you if we go to break. But yes, we should. And even with the white families, yes, explain to your children that's gauging the temperature of this nation. They need to be mindful as well, because what could happen is people will get upset and possibly think, that their white child, who means no harm, no ill intent, is possibly aiming to hurt them. When in actuality, there's no harm meant. And I don't doubt that when this baby went out on that boat, that he felt like this was going to be his last day on earth. I don't think he felt like that, because according to his mom, he had gone out there before. He had been out there before. So it was nothing new for him to go to that island on that boat, according to her.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Angela Simpson Buckner, founder, CEO, reporter, journalist of Mike Magazine. We love and appreciate you, Angela. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will be catching up with you in short order, because we want to know. We will be following this press conference tomorrow as well. We'll probably be there. So thank you so much for giving us your time and your insight, your special Mississippi insight. You are on our boots on the ground, and we love you.
And I just want to make certain that I plug the National Association of Black Defenders, letting them know that, we are here to rally with this family. Okay, even when everybody else is gone, we are still going to be there. And even with grassroots media, even though we don't get the respect that we deserve from our colleagues who are working for a major media outlet right now, because we know Don Lemon used to work for a major media outlet, and they pushed him out. And so you have to keep that top of mind, Black journalists, that just because you work for CNN right now does not place you in a position of prestige just because you can say, hey, I work for me.
Got it. And that's why we love you, Angela. Angela, it is at the bottom of the hour, and I have my engineer And I have.
They're looking at you.
They're looking at me like, it's 1:30. Thank you. You better stay in touch because we will. Angela Simpson, Buckner, Mike Magazine in Mississippi. We'll be back here after Logan Page gives us the news, the weather, and the traffic here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Yes, Ken, I do have the news, traffic, and weather. I'm Logan Page, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. The Chicago Public Schools budget battle is on. The school district held its first public hearing yesterday to address a spending plan with a $732 million budget gap. CPS CEO Macklin King says several teachers who were laid off should be able to get rehired soon. She added that there are 1,700 vacancies available for teachers, and she expects that up to 85% of those terminated teachers will find jobs. The budget only needs a simple majority to pass. A vote is expected on July 30th. In other news, the Trump administration is freezing more than $1 billion in Medicaid payments to California and Minnesota, while reviews questionable claims. Most of the funding on hold affects California, with additional payments delayed in Minnesota pending more documentation. Federal officials say the move is part of a broader effort to combat Medicaid and fraud and protect taxpayer dollars. In other news, LeBron James' agent says his client won't be rushed into making a decision on his next destination. Rich Paul said Monday on the latest edition of his podcast that there's no timetable for the free agent forward to pick a suitor, but the teams involved don't have to do any more to make their cases. The 41-year-old is reportedly down to the Miami Heat, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Philadelphia 76ers as his landing spots. And Ford recalls nearly 388,000 Explorers and Aviators over seats defects. WVON's intern Caleb Patton has more.
Apparently, the second row seats could unlatch, tip, or slide unexpectedly. Ford Motor Company is recalling because the defective seats could lead to injuries while driving. The recall affects some 20 to 2027 Aviators and 20 to 2026 Explorers. Owners can take their vehicle to a dealer who will inspect and replace the defective parts, called a bezel, free of charge. Letters informing owners of the safety risk are set to go out on July 27th. Caleb Patton, Our News Now, 1690 WVON.
I'm Logan Page, and that's what's happening in your news now on WVON 1690 AM.
Some people wait for the future, others build it. WVON proudly presents the 2026 40 Game Changers Under 40. This year, it's a compass celebrating the navigators of next. Do you know an entrepreneur, community change agent, rising executive, educator, innovator, or a creator who is 40 or under and doing great work to help shape the future of Chicago? Or is that someone you? Now through July 17th, we're taking nominations. Visit 40gamechangers.com to submit your nominee. And then keep listening for updates on this year's exciting celebration. In 2026, our compass is on the navigators of next, because Chicago's future belongs to the people bold enough to lead it. Sponsored by BMO.
Beauty is more than style, it's a story, and now you get to hear it straight from the source. Solo Beauty Supply presents the Hair Tour radio show, coming to WVON Saturdays at 2 p.m. From Chicago to the West Coast, top salon owners pull back the curtain on the business, the culture, and the grind behind the chair. From building brands to shaping communities, this is where beauty meets boss moves. Tune in, tap in, and take notes. The Hair Tour radio show, Saturdays at 2 p.m. only on WVON.
Now back to Matt Mcgill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
With you I feel so free. You came into my life, filled me with so much joy. Once I was lonely and blue. Now there's just me and you, my dear. I'll sacrifice, I'll pay the price.
Woo! That is the cut. I ain't don't know nothing about that. Woo wee. Ooh, baby, you came into my life. You are. Ooh, that song, man. Let me tell you, baby. Let me get focused. That is y'all don't even know. Music soothes the savage beast. Woo. All right, let me get focused. Ladies and gentlemen, 17 American service members have died in this war, the so-called war in Iran, in the months since the United States and Israel launched an attack, a military attack on Iran February 28th. Now, that's a fact. The United States and Israel attacked another country. Trump said he wasn't going to do that. He was going to end all wars. We initiated an attack on another country, another sovereign nation. And so about 444 more United States service members have been wounded in this conflict, according to the Pentagon now. That's what they're saying. President Trump delivered a dim view of possible talks with Iran to end the war, telling reporters today that the United States has no interest in meeting until Iran is ready to convene in a meaningful way. With no end in the fight in sight, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, I do mean Hegseth, is testifying before the Senate this afternoon as we speak, as a matter of fact, right? And they are grilling him right now. They're grilling he and and General Kane. They're testifying in the Senate. And they are trying to make a case for Trump's 87.6. Let me say this again slow, because I want my guests to address this. $87.6 billion supplemental funding requests, mostly for covering the cost of this war. Again, that we attacked another nation, didn't provoke anything with us, didn't attack anyone in the NATO alliance. I can go on and on and on with this. You know, I'm very, very, very passionate about this for obvious reasons. You know, my son was over there. He serves in the military, full disclosure. So, ladies and gentlemen, on the live line, my man, associate professor of journalism and religion at Northwestern University. Put your eyes and ears, and especially your ears, together for Professor Ibrahim Abu Sharif. That's my man. We talked before. He's no stranger to this station. Professor, welcome to the Talk of Chicago. Welcome back to the Talk of Chicago.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back. Thank you.
I know, man. You heard my diatribe, but you know what's real is real. And
I heard you singing too. So.
Oh yes, my man. Listen. I got to do something for therapy. So, you know, some people drink alcohol, smoke weed, or do coke.
Yeah.
I listen to house music.
Okay.
So this is a very serious situation here with 17 fallen soldiers, 447 more U.S. service members wounded in this conflict. What do you see as the most significant development in this United States-Iran conflict over the past few weeks? And still to this day, why does it matter, Professor Ibrahim Abu Sharif?
Well, there are a lot of things that cause us to have pause about the memorandum of understanding and also the ramp up to eventually what will be a ceasefire. And one of them is that there is something highly erratic with the messaging coming out of the White House, the messaging coming from Donald Trump. And when you have erratic messaging, you lose the trust of even your enemies who you're negotiating with. You lose their trust. And when there's sort of this instability about we want something and then you do something that counters what you want, it just creates an enormous amount of instability. And the United States, again, is responsible for the starting this war, the American and the Israelis but the ramp up to the war was never clear. So we're looking for the off-ramp, and the off-ramp is not going to be clear until we understand what happens, why this war began against intelligence services, against all the political scientists who are saying this is not going to work out, but it still went forward. And so, I mean, I'm looking also at the stats about how many U.S. servicemen died. One is too many, but let me just say it is highly, highly unlikely that it's only 17. And we've learned one thing from this administration: they play with numbers because they fear what the real numbers will reveal. Just for even simple things like the 4th of July celebration in the mall in Washington D.C. And having lying about how many people were there while the photographs show something different. Lying in the face of evidence is no problem for this administration. So I think we need to look at really what are the consequences in terms of human life and also money. So this bill for supplemental funding, it's a very interesting thing because maybe better than that is perhaps giving Iran its money that's being frozen in the United States. Yes. One hopes that that's the best case scenario. But the reality is, if you're just going to have this extra money to buy new bombs and spend more armaments, again, we're looking at two sides who are really digging deep and are not willing to move. So this is the struggle where we're at now.
Man, that's very, very powerful. And I need to clarify on and make sure that I gave the correct numbers of those military folk who were injured. I'm not sure if it was 400 plus or nearly 100. And I understand 90, according to the Pentagon, about 96% of them have returned to duty. So misinformation, who knows? All I know is that Pete Hegseth is taking the lead. He's running the Pentagon, and that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. That's another 4-hour show. I would recommend listeners go to the Senate hearings with Senator Illinois, our Senator in Illinois, Tammy Duckworth, grilling Pete Hegseth. I mean, along with, I think General Kelly was in that as well. My goodness. And no one can say a damn thing about Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois.
Yeah.
No one can say nothing. This woman lost both of her legs in, was it Afghan or Iraq? Right? In conflict.
In conflict, yeah.
Right? And so she went back. She's a beast. And she's a star of the Democrat Party. Excuse me. She's a star. I like her as my U.S. Senator. Put it like that. I don't care what party she's in or what anyone is in, quite frankly, at this point, because the Democrat, tomato. You can't hide behind some of the stuff that. Anyway, I don't want to go into my diatribe. So, Professor Ibrahim Abu Sharif, Associate Professor of Journalism and Religion at Northwestern, are we witnessing a temporary military escalation, or has the relationship fundamentally changed in a way that will shape the region for years to come, quite frankly?
Well, I think no matter what happens from here onward, the region, the power structures and the power imbalance in the region has already been settled, has been changed. Iran now is a major power in the Middle East. Before this war, it was not really viewed as such. And so I think right now, contrary to the predictions and the hopes and false hopes of the United States and the Israelis with regard to Iran, what Iran is doing now was never anticipated, that it could reach into Israel, reach in all of these places and have their missiles basically go unchallenged for the most part. No one thought that they would. Yeah, so that's real. So this upset the balance. I mean, and it's not temporary. This is the way it is. In the Arab Gulf countries, and I study the Arab Gulf, I was in the Arab Gulf, 10 days ago. And, I was there getting the warning, hey, you got to watch out, you got to take shelter. And so I really feel that the power dynamics in the Middle East, in the Persian Gulf, and also with the GCC, which is the wealthy Gulf states, that whole dynamic is changing. And you're going to see these Gulf states reluctantly moving closer to Iran than the United States. And so the power structures have been changed already. Now, what's going to happen in the future is I think diplomacy sometimes works when you have no other choice but to accept the reality. And so I think that the positive potential here is that the reality is Iran is a major power in the region, and you have to accept that. You know, the regime change didn't work. Destroying Iran in military capacities hasn't worked. And so you're just going to have to surrender and resign to the idea that you're going to have to deal with another power in the Middle East besides Pakistan, besides India, besides other places. So and they're in the South Asia, but I'm saying that the dynamic has been changed. And ultimately, if you want to have something called a ceasefire, you have to acknowledge a change reluctantly against your predictions and accept the reality of it. And so I think that in the end, there will have to be an acknowledgement that this is a new power in the neighborhood, and the best way to deal with it is not by trying to destroy it, but trying to work with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to Northwestern Professor Abraham Abu Sharif here on the Talk of Chicago. We'll be right back. WVON.
More from Matt Mcgill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out?
It's spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Now back to Matt Mcgill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Take a look around at all the people. Everyone is trying hard to compete. If they only took the time to look a little deeper, I'll find you'll find that beauty is skin deep. It's not what you wear.
All right, Chicago, we are black. I am Ken Duncan. Ken Duncan sitting in for Matt McGill. And before I bring in the professor back up, let me, Facebook Live, I tell you all are always hot, man. And I'm not sure if it's me, Matt, but Mike Burrows, I appreciate you, Lee Williams. Ken Recording, thank you so much. Alonzo Echoes, Rufus McGee, what's good? Preston Shanks. Carol Carter, girl, Carol Carter, I love you. You know I do. Ain't nothing you can do about it. But I don't, you know what? Listen, I don't talk about my other co-hosts, not a negative, but you know how it works. Alma McIntosh, thank you so much. Brother Tony Snow, what's good? What is good? And George Gammons, how you doing, my friend? Thanks so much for watching. Brother Wall, we appreciate you. MC Robinson, right back at you. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for paying attention and listening. And even Brother Will, we appreciate you so much. On the live line is Professor Abraham Abu Sharif. Am I saying your last name right?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Abu Sharif, who's an associate professor at Northwestern University. And this is a very, very unique outcome or sort of ongoing scenario. I think America has shown, Iran has really gone up the skirt of America and seeing that she ain't wearing no panties, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
And the wind is blowing and everyone else sees it. We did not go in there and do what Trump has said we were going to do to Iran. I think they're even stronger. And whether they're receiving help from Russia, from China, or both, it is exposed in America in a way that is not going to be recovered anytime soon. What say you, Professor?
Well, I think they are receiving help from Russia and China, and I believe it accelerated as a result of the war. So what we're looking at is a different kind of alignment of power. So it's not just simply Iran, but Iran, China, and Russia as a block force with regard to the Middle East oil-rich Gulf states. And I'm not going to say the United States did not anticipate that, but what they did anticipate is sort of the false narratives that this is going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah.
And we're clearly learning that it's not. So there's two things we do from that. Okay, number one, we acknowledge that we made a mistake, and you don't have to publicly do it. Don't go to confession. Don't do anything like that. But within the policy framework and policy-making framework of the government, I think there has to be more reliance on what the intelligence is saying rather than what the politics is suggesting. And so, maybe privately that conversation is going on, or keep repeating this until the end time. So the point is, there is something to learn from this. Iran never ever fired a bullet towards the United States land or territory. It never happened. So what we're seeing right now, in large measure, is not provoked by any military action against the United States. It's ideological. And so I think what we need to do is sort of live with our eyes open and know that there are different perspectives in this world, and that we have to respect those perspectives and then move forward with that. If we're still going into these decisions with a colonial superiority complex, that we're going to civilize these brown black people, we're going to civilize them because we're the almighty West. This is it always failed, and it will continue to fail.
Come on now.
And so I think we're looking at a colonial mindset that believes that accepts that things are going to be easy simply because, not a strategy, but because of who they are. This is the ideological problem that we're seeing in this war. And that is the colonial assumptions.
Wow, brother, that's a mic drop, Professor. I don't even know what to say after that. The West, the European, American, Western colonial mentality, you hit it right on the number. Thinking that the global South is going to consistently fall to our knees or just sort of acquiesce, or as if we have no alternative strategy in dealing with the historical subjugation by the West, by the United States, and all day, every day, Europe. It's a misnomer. And what's ironic is Europe, most of Europe is saying, all of us saying, brother, my name is Bennett, and we ain't in it. So, in light of the Trump machismoism of never say sorry, we don't surrender, what's the out game? Because I want us to get out of it.
Yeah, and I think we do, and I do. I'm a Southsider, born and raised Chicago, South Side, and I do, but I also come from an immigrant background, so I have feet in both worlds. And I've studied and worked in the Gulf for 17, 18 years.
Wow.
I am familiar with the dynamic there. But when you mentioned the Global South, this is really insightful because I think the Global South is looking closely at what's happening now. And in fact, is that you don't have to give in, you don't have to resign, you don't have to surrender to these superiority conceits, and that you can rally around yourself, make alliances with your neighbors, and really build your education system, build your economies, because you can't keep relying on the West. You'll never catch up to the nations that you're running after. It's just not. Work with what you have. It is significant. This is what the Global South needs to be looking at now.
Professor, respectfully, you didn't answer my question.
Yeah, what was it?
How does a cocky, overconfident Trump get us out of this?
Okay, I mean, it's very simple. It's what they use. It's regime change. So here we have a democracy, and we're already seeing sort of the posturing of trying to minimize, the possibility of there being a change of leadership in the country, whether Democrat, Republican, in the midterm elections. But in the end, there has to be what is this country's long been known for, and that is a check on power. Right now, there is no check on power. People are terrified of Trump for some reason. But if there is a flip in the Congress, there is a flip in the Senate, and a flip in the House of Representatives, I think that this will defang the president and defang his machismo, as you mentioned.
What's our timeline? I mean, that's the only option that we have.
Unfortunately, I just don't see the light bulb. I don't see the sudden enlightenment. I don't see that coming, because you have people in the apex of military and political authority who are really exhibiting incurable arrogance. They believe that they can do no wrong. And I think that you need some humility. And I think without that, we're going to see a continuation of this until there is a so-called regime change in the country through the elections.
All right, we got to take a break. Professor, I need you to stay over past 2 o'clock.
All right, no problem.
So when we come back, Professor, I'm going to ask you a real simple question.
Yeah.
And it's going to be about what the misconceptions. What misconceptions do you think Americans commonly have about Iran, its leadership, or its dynamics, especially right now since we are thick in this damn conflict? We'll be back here on the Talk of Chicago with Professor Abraham Abu Sharif from Northwest. He's associate professor. Can't wait to come back. We'll be back. In the meantime, in between time, Logan Page is going to give us the news, the weather, and the traffic here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Only 3 more days until the weekend, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here are your news headlines. Mayor Johnson and Alderman advance competing proposals for renter protections. Resident near Pope home gets cited for excessive noise. New complaints against Tate Brothers released. An allergy medication recalled over potential cross-contamination. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
VIN News Now. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says U.S. operations against Iran will continue until President Trump's objectives are met.
The president is always looking for the diplomatic off-ramp. President Trump wants to end it with a peaceful agreement with Iran, but it takes 2 parties to do that.
Speaking on ABC's This Week, Wright called the mission vital to regional stability and said the administration remains focused on preventing future threats. Paramount Skydance has scored an early win in the legal fight over its proposed merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. A federal judge stepped aside after the company raised conflict concerns, and a new judge has now taken over the antitrust case. And rapper Designer is facing another domestic violence case after being arrested in South Carolina. Authorities say he allegedly damaged property during a dispute with his partner and chased her from the home. This marks his second domestic violence-related arrest of the year. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's more with Terry McCready.
Senator Elizabeth Warren is endorsing Abdul El-Sayed in the Michigan Senate primary. The Massachusetts senator added her name to the list of progressives endorsing El-Sayed and praising him for growing a movement of working people all across Michigan. Warren's endorsement video also argued that El-Sayed was the only candidate who can build the grassroots movement needed to win in November. He's facing off against Congresswoman Haley Stevens, who has the support of the Congressional Black Caucus, retiring Senator Gary Peters, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. The U.S. launching a new round of strikes against Iran. In a post on X, U.S. Central Command said it began conducting strikes late yesterday afternoon at the direction of President Trump.
It's tragic to lose American lives, but this is a mission that will save countless lives going forward. His focus is on degrading the Iranian ability to terrorize the world.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright on ABC's This Week. CENTCOM said the strikes were designed to further degrade Iranian military capabilities used to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, the president attending the dignified transfer of 2 U.S. soldiers killed in Iranian attacks in Jordan taking place at Dover Air Force Base today. 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez of Texas was killed on Friday, and 25-year-old Tyler Freehan of Hawaii died on Saturday. The Iranian attack also left another soldier missing. New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani is being a bit coy in defining what it means to be part of the working class. During a news conference, he tackled the question of whether he believes he falls under that label.
I would consider myself the mayor of our city. What I mean by that is, I said it the other week that I haven't knocked on anybody's door in New York City and they've told me their concern is the mayor makes too little. My focus is on those who are struggling to afford life in this city.
During a New York Times podcast, Mamdani said the definition of working class is expanding as costs continue to rise. He said housing and child care are 2 sectors where too many New Yorkers are struggling to make ends meet. All right, August is closing in, and some supplemental security beneficiaries may not receive their usual payment. The month begins on a Saturday, which is something of a stumble for those who receive supplemental security income. Payments are for those with disabilities and older adults with little to no income. This year, the monthly maximum benefit is $994 for eligible individuals, around $1,500 for those with an eligible spouse, and $500 for an essential person. August is the 4th month this year in which regular supplemental security payments will not be sent out on the first day of the month. Payments will go out on Friday, July 31st. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
A new episode of Mama I Made It is here. This month, award-winning journalist Samantha Chapman sits down with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker for a candid conversation about leadership, public service, and the issues shaping the future of our state. From the challenges of governing to the people and experiences that have shaped his journey. This is a side of the governor you won't want to miss. Stream the new episode of Mama I Made It only on Vaughn TV. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, the WVON app, and at VON.TV.
Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community that we can shop, dine, and support throughout the year. These businesses are the economic engine that drives our neighborhoods. Wintrust knows that. That's why they're Chicago's bank and why they're encouraging you to shop local. Keep listening for the Wintrust Community Business Spotlight campaign. With Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
I was having a medical procedure, and I wanted to ensure my kids would get my home should something happen to me. I called attorney Ted London. He provided a land trust and power of attorney. Now my kids would not have to go through the probate process.
After the death of my husband, I had to get my affairs in order. I called attorney Ted London. Now my family and home will not have to go through the probate process.
773-721-3333.
Live from the Xfinity Studios, it's the station that America listens to. WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's Matt Mcgill on Chicago's Essential Storyteller, WVON.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are black. I am Ken Duncan, sitting in for Matt Mcgill. He used to be back sooner than later. I know y'all miss him. I miss him too. That's my main man, 100 grand, no matter what. On our live line is Northwestern Professor Ibrahim Abu Sharif. And Abu Sharif, I know we're talking about a very serious subject here, but this conflict has to end. When it does end, man, we're going to go out hanging out. We're going to go somewhere and we're going to find some cool people, cool vibrations, and we're going to dance, all right? Professor? Oh, you don't want to speak to that, huh? We get back. Professor Abraham Abu Sharif, live from Northwestern. Let me make sure we got him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on mute, and I was finally. I'm looking forward to that celebration.
Yes, we got to celebrate, man, because this is really taking me aback, and I want to go back to the question that I asked, and I got several of them. But what are the misconceptions do you think that Americans commonly have about Iran, its leadership, or the dynamics of this conflict? Because I think when Trump put this out there, or went along with Benjamin Netanyahu's "let's attack Iran," we were going to hit it and quit it.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest misconception, there's something called epistemic compression, and that is when you reduce a nation and its complexity, like we have here, like every nation has, and you just really compress it and reduce it to these, media discourses that Iran is about terrorism, nuclear threat, religious extremism, and anti-Americanism, and being settled with that idea for the last 40 years, It seeps into our minds and our psyches. So when the United States wages war on Iran, and typically in the American mind, they're not waging a war on the people; they're waging a war on these sort of labels: terrorism, nuclear threat, religious extremism, anti-Americanism. And so I think this is again, it goes back to the colonial mindset. And the reason I'm on that, because I teach courses on decolonial studies. And so I think it's important for us, while colonialism, boots on the ground, has been finished for the most part, but the ideology still lives. And I think that we can't completely historicize colonialism and try to understand that the ideology is very much alive. And so I think what happens when you reduce a nation, Venezuela is Maduro, and Cuba is just about Castro, and the Greenland is about nobody. And we sort of we take the indigenous complexity of a place to make it more digestible. This is the mediation of conflict. So when it comes to Iran, we forget that Iran was part of the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire was an extremely civilized place.
Yes.
In terms of medicine, architecture,
science,
literature, poetry, science.
Yes.
And so, when our dear president says he's going to destroy civilization, number one, I don't think he knows what a civilization is. You don't destroy it. I mean, you can't destroy the past. You can't destroy pastness.
Right.
And so, I mean,
7,000 years Iran has been in Persia. Persia has been around. Everyone has attacked and tried to take out the civilization of Persia.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Nothing happened. And you just can't reduce this and have the misconception lead policy. And this is what I think we're seeing here. And Iranian politics cannot be explained by the religious extremists within the country, and there is repression within the country, but it's not going to be solved through bombing. It has to come from within. And I think that's the other sort of very serious misconception, is that you can change a people by bombing the hell out of them.
Yes.
This doesn't work. It never worked.
Well, how the hell we bomb our way out of into favor? And that, let me say, that funeral, the Ayatollah Khomeini's funeral procession alone, just emboldened a whole new generation plus and a nation against the United States.
Yeah, not just within Iran, it also within Iraq and also the larger Muslim world. I think, again, eyes are opening now to a different kind of realization about true power dynamics. The United States is still the world power. It is. No one's saying that Iran is a world power. It is not. But I think what we're seeing now is there's been shifting sands in how, the strategy of using military efforts to change these realities on the ground is so overdone. It's misconceived and it is pernicious. And I think that this is something that we have to understand from within. When we go to the ballot box, we're in our little booth. No one sees, we have to seriously look not just at the elections now, but really where are we headed in the next 10, 20 years?
Absolutely. I'm looking at the Senate hearings right now, and there's open protests, going on live as Pete Hegseth and Raising Cane are testifying before the Senate committee. I mean, they're kicking people out of there right now. People are more than aware of the lunacy and the nonsense and the rationale for us attacking another country at the behest of Benjamin Netanyahu. So, along with that, and this probably is since you spent 17 plus years over in the Gulf. What role are regional powers such as Qatar, Oman, Saudi, and other Gulf states are playing behind the scenes, and how are they been influential at all? Are they playing any kind of role, or are they just on the receiving end of Iranian missiles?
Well, they are in the receiving end, but I think there are probably many backstories that we'll never really know. And one thing that when I studied the Arab Gulf countries, the wealthy countries there, and they formed something called the GCC Gulf Cooperation Council. And so right now I'm seeing that, in 2017, there was a big boycott against Qatar from within the region. And what that essentially did was break up a cohesive Arab Gulf, polity. Mm-hmm. And so every nation now will have its own separate type of relationship. Qatar had a long, warm relation with Iran because they share a gas field. They have no choice. And I think that there's also old families in Qatar that have Iranian roots. I mean, we have to look at, there are dynamics like that. And also in the eastern oil-rich part of Saudi Arabia, you have a lot of Shiite Saudis who live there. And also in Bahrain, you have half the population is Shia. And so I think that to try to gloss that over and pretend that doesn't count is not influencing what's going on now is really severe naivety. It's just clinical naivety.
Let me tell you, and I spent a little bit of time over there in Israel, Jordan, and UAE. Articulate to us, Professor, what is Shiite and what is Shia, and what's the influence and what's the distinctions over in the Gulf and as it relates to Iran?
Well, I mean, the Shia Sunnis split is old and would take a lot of time to explain, but the question is central. But because what we're looking now is, there's been traditional rift between the Sunni world, which is the majority world, and the Shiite world, which you will find them heavily populated in Iran, Lebanon, and Bahrain, and other areas. And but right now, and this is part of the power dynamics that I'm seeing shifting here, is that many of the people who went to Khomeini's funeral were actually from the Sunni scholarly community. And so I think this was a very interesting thing to look at. And so I think that this rift may have closed a little bit in seeing Iran's, between quotes, success in rebuffing American military power and authority in the region. I think that there is going to be some migration, political migration, towards Iran and towards Iran that was not there before. I think Iran learned or earned some respect in the region. They're not going to say it. This is why I started by saying the backstories we'll never fully get, because I would love to be in the rooms where they're discussing this. But I do believe that there is a shift towards Iran in the region.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Professor Abraham Abu Sharif, who is a associate professor at Northwestern University. I have a question for you when we come back. I'm sitting in for Matt Mcgill here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
More from Matt Mcgill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
In July, Vaughn TV has your summer watch list covered. Go behind the headlines with the official launch of Portraits in Color, featuring candid conversations with music executive Matthew Knowles, community leader Jotaka Edie, and actress Danielle Truitt.
My family is very proud. It was very cool to, when the show first came out and to see myself in those credits, with dun, 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 and be like, that's me. That's crazy, It is very cool to be a part of the legacy of Law & Order now.
And that's just the beginning. Premiering this month, Serenity, Strength, and Style with Sylvia Ewing and Friends, a fresh new series featuring inspiring conversations about health, wellness, creativity, and living life to the fullest. This July, there's something for everyone on Vaughn TV. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or at Vaughn.tv. Vaughn TV, for the culture, by the culture.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
It's Rufus Williams.
Chris, good morning. Welcome to VON.
Ain't no jive on the morning drive with Rufus Williams. Thank you, brother.
Weekdays at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Now back to Matt Mcgill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, Chicago, we are Black here. I am Ken Duncan. And on our live line is Northwestern Professor Abraham Abu Sharif. And we're talking about the conflict in Iran, a very, very significant conflict that all of us are being impacted by. And it's quite serious. My question to you, as we do this last segment before the bottom of the hour, what's the one question, Professor, about the U.S.-Iran conflict that journalists aren't asking often enough, and what should the public understand about it?
All right, that's really a good question. It's an essential question. One, I would have to sort of parse out what we mean by journalism. Mainstream journalism is sort of stuck. They're not asking the right questions. You do have alternative presses and alternative, for example, WVON. I'm not saying this because I'm here, but you're saying things and you're asking things that you don't hear in mainstream. So I would recommend for the mainstream to go to a couple of places, and that is understand the relationship, the American-Israeli relationship, because that seems to be the epicenter of all unwise decisions that have been going on in the Middle East. This isn't anti-Semitism. It's not anti-Jewish.
Sure.
What I am saying is that if you have a close ally that's working sort of pushing you to do something against your own interests, you have to reevaluate. And that doesn't mean to sever relations, but it does mean to reevaluate it. And once you just accept that no matter what you do, your relationship with the superpower, the daddy superpower, is not going to change, and you can do whatever you want in Lebanon, you can do whatever you want in Gaza. So this is sort of the epicenter of this conflict. And I think the people who are most shocked by the difficulty of this war are the Israelis, because they thought that this was going to be a cakewalk. They promised it would.
Yes.
But it wasn't. So I think that if there's something that we have to get out of this, and that is sort of the political assumptions and policy-making machinery of Washington needs to be recalibrated and connected more grounded in the reality of Iran, of the Arab world, of the Muslim world, of the larger global South. That we can no longer treat the world like they are our clients and we are their teachers. We can't do that anymore. And if we overcome that, then war is not going to be our first option. It will have to be negotiation. It would have to be respect. It would have to be some humility. That doesn't mean America is no longer a superpower. Of course it is. I mean, it's extraordinary military power. There's no doubt about that. But I think that power is best used when you reach out to people politically and diplomatically rather than with a bludgeon. This is what I think we need to get out of this whole confusion here.
Excellent point. We're going to take one caller, Eddie, who has a question. Then we're going to let Professor Abraham Abushadi from Northwestern get the last word. Hey, Brother Eddie, you're on the Talk of Chicago. What's in you?
Hey, how you doing? And to your guest.
Great.
Hi.
Great. Professor, you said the United States is a superpower still, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you consider us to be an empire?
Well, I think it behaves like an empire, and it dovetails with the conversation about colonial attitudes. It does behave like an empire. It long has, to be very honest with you, when it comes to even we forget that history is not. The past is not dead. It still exerts its influence today. So if we have to look at how Native Americans were sort of were wiped out, and based on the attitudes of empire and coloniality.
Wow.
And so we're looking at that ideology is not dead. It's very much alive. So it was just more subtly framed. Now with the Trump administration, they're saying we want Greenland, we want Canada, we want to change the name to Gulf of Mexico. We want to do all these things. That is absolutely empire thinking. And so I think it's come out in the open. So your point's a subtle point, and I agree with it. But I think that it's been there for a while, but I think the Trump administration is actually articulating it unabashedly.
Okay. Now, the reason why I make that point real quickly is because, Iran, as my understanding, has been vigorously seeking to do away the dependency on the U.S. dollar. Now, given that we are an empire, and I'm not putting a judgment value like pro or con at this point, I'm just making an area observation. It just seems to me that what empires do is they conquer, and they do whatever they have to do to maintain that power. So given that the United States is an empire and a superpower, I just don't see any other way. History has shown us that that's really about empires stay in power. They continue to conquer relentlessly.
Yeah. I actually like that idea. But I would just comment and just say that when we're looking at conquering it, when global powers or colonial powers go into a nation, they destroy their institutions. They destroy the financial institutions. And erect institutions according to their own image. They destroy educational institutions. They really sort of engineer the country. And so your point about currency is very much spot on. That part is not usually in the history books. The history books talk about nations conquering nations and putting boots on the ground, but it's really much more of that. It's institutional, and that's an astute point.
Very astute.
Right, thank you so much.
Hey Eddie, thank you so much, Professor. Now you see, our callers are absolutely well informed, educated, and
absolutely,
I learn a great deal as well. Okay, so currently, in this, my final question: the Senate is going on. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins, they're testifying in front of Senator Collins' committee, asking for an additional $87 billion for this effort. What is your take on that?
I think it would be a miracle, but it would be a very positive sign that they say no. And this is not to starve the army or to take gut the military, but someone has to say no. Someone has to stand up because resistance is part of civilization.
Yes.
From within, when you have checks on power, it doesn't mean that you're anti-democratic or anti-democracy or anti-anything. It just means that you can't always get what you want. And so you have to stop treating this administration like a spoiled kid, and you got to say no. So hopefully, and I don't have a lot of hope in this because I think eventually they'll get the money, but I think hopefully if they make a stand here, it's good for the country.
Diplomatic efforts, what's your prediction from your history, your timeline for this to come to a head? I mean, what has to happen? What do you think is going to be behind the scenes that will make this thing go away?
Well, my heart says one thing, my head says another. My heart says I really hope that they can resolve this and not just resolve the conflict, but sort of resolve the ideology between that's animating the conflict. And the other, though, I think is going to get worse. And I truly hope I'm wrong. I hope I come back on here and tell you, hey, you're right, I'm wrong, and that didn't happen. But I do believe it's going to get worse. And unfortunately, I think it's going to hurt us and hurt the region.
Ladies and gentlemen, Abraham Abu Sharif, associate professor at Northwestern University. Always enjoy your presence and your words and your wisdom. I'm glad we have a subject matter expert such as yourself.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
All right, until next time. All right, you heard it from him, and you know how to reach him. He is a guy that we're going to go dancing once this thing ends. I would say within the next 3 weeks. I'll give it 3 weeks max. We're going to be hanging out, Professor. We're gonna,
let's do it.
Man, because it is. I'm just sick of the dynamic and the game that Netanyahu has played on all of American. And last point, Congress. Men and women are speaking up in clear and plain English about not funding Israel for the in this budget. They are open. It's a new paradigm shift for AIPAC to be a dirty word in elections across America. I bet you weren't expecting that.
No, I wasn't. And again, I think that the American-Israeli relationship needs to be like any other relationship in a hyphenated world of the American, Chinese, American, whatever. And that is, you have to have checks and balances.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. My honor. All right. Take care.
All right. Very, very captivating and interesting subject matter. All right. In the meantime, in between time, we're going to go back to news, weather, and traffic with Logan Page here on the Talk of Chicago, WVON.
Only 3 more days until the weekend, Chicago. Let's keep up the good work. I'm Logan Page, and here's happening in your local and national news. Chicago leaders advance competing renter protection plans. Officials are considering 2 competing proposals that would change renter protections. Mayor Brandon Johnson's plan would require landlords to have just cause before evicting tenants. A competing proposal from several aldermen removes that requirement, but sets notice periods of 30 to 120 days for lease non-renewals. Both measures are expected to be delayed as the city council prepares for its summer break. In other news, a Dalton woman says village officials are unfairly targeting her after she received a $750 excessive noise citation near Pope Leo's childhood home. Her attorney argues the citation cites a vehicle-related ordinance rather than a noise violation. Several other citations against her were dismissed, but she still faces $150 in fines. Village officials say they stand by the citation. In other news, a nationwide recall has been issued for 4 lots of cetirizine hydrochloride allergy medication due to possible cross-contamination with another drug. The contamination could cause serious reactions in some consumers. No adverse incidents have been recorded. In other news, new federal court filings have revealed sex crime complaints against Andrew and Tristan Tate. The allegations include rape, sex trafficking, and assault based on complaints from women in England dating back more than a decade. British authorities are seeking the brothers' extradition, while their attorney says they will fight the request and claims the charges are politically motivated. I'm Logan Page, and that's happening in your news now on WVON 1690 AM.
Summer is here, the season of sunshine, swimming, picnics, and the freedom to have fun and enjoy yourself. United Fidelity Bank believes freedom starts with smart savings. Whether you're hanging with friends and family or enjoying a summer night, your money should still be working for you. Open a United Fidelity Bank 18-month certificate of deposit with a 4.25% annual percentage yield. It's a simple, steady way to grow your savings, letting your money work for you. At United Fidelity Bank, they focus on you, your needs, your goals, your questions. Their personal service is something you will not find at a big box bank. Get the experience you need and the service you deserve. Stop by their Chicago flagship branch at 1701 West 87th Street to open your 18-month 4.25% APY CD today, or visit UnitedFidelity.com. United Fidelity Bank, where your summer of smart savings begins. Rates subject to change at any time. CDs renew automatically at the standard rate in effect at the time of renewal unless instructed otherwise. Member FDIC.
I'm Selma, and I'll be your server this evening. The special is pasta primavera, and it comes with a salad. Oh, and by the way, I abuse my children. Lots of times I beat them for even the smallest reason. When they really get on my nerves, I lock them in the closet for a few hours.
If only child abuse was this easy to recognize, perhaps then more people would report it. If you even suspect abuse, call Child Help at 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit www.childhelp.org. We've helped millions of people help millions of children, and we can help you. All calls are anonymous and confidential, so remember 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit www.childhelp.org. Child Help. Trust your instincts. A public service message brought to you by Child Help and the Ad Council.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Information on hot water heating.
No. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out the words.
World music. Playing track now.
No.
Let me try. Our daughter gets confused about which details in a story are important.
Which paper towels are most absorbent?
What?
Here are 5 product reviews.
Why are you not getting me?
See, I told you.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash. Fantastic. Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, Chicago, we are black, real black here on the Talk of Chicago. I'm sitting in for Matt McGill, and we're wishing him well and great health. Here's something. We're going to switch things up a little bit. And this is something to take real serious. And full disclosure, my bishop, he was chairman of hematology at Children's. So we talk about the blood all the time, but did you know that there's a nationwide blood shortage, and it's putting pressure on hospitals and patients who rely on life-saving transfusions, y'all. So the American Red Cross is urging eligible donors to step up as supplies of critical blood types reach dangerously low levels. This is very, very serious. And unless you've been in a situation like this here, you don't realize the significance of this here. So on our live line, Our guest from the American Red Cross is none other than Communications Manager Myra Thompson. Welcome to the Talk of Chicago. What say you this afternoon?
Thank you so much for having me to talk about this important topic this afternoon.
Absolutely. So let me ask, just how serious is the current blood shortage, and what does it mean for patients who need blood transfusions?
This blood shortage is very serious. I know, if you've been around for a while, you've maybe heard of blood shortages in the past. It is something that we see from time to time, but this one is pretty bad because we announced this blood shortage last week, and we'll usually see, an increase in appointments, but we just didn't see that same turnaround this time. We have had thousands of people come out to donate, which is wonderful, but we need even more. It's becoming almost crisis levels if we don't see some turnaround in the next few days. That could mean that we would have less than a 2-day supply of some of the most critical blood types. So we're really relying on folks to come out, roll up a sleeve, and make a volunteer blood donation.
So Myra Thompson, why are blood supplies, especially type O, currently at such low levels?
Well, this isn't unusual in the summer. We do typically see a little dip of blood donations in the summer, a combination of kids being out of school, people going on vacations, they have other plans going on. So this isn't totally unusual to see this kind of dip in the summer. But I think what we're seeing this year is, in addition to all of those regular factors that we deal with, we've seen a lot of extreme heat. We've had the poor air quality, and obviously most recently some recent food-related illnesses. So all of those things combined has just made it really challenging for people to want to get out, make a donation, go maybe out of their normal routine. It's just not top of mind for people the way it might normally be, and that's why we're seeing these very critical levels.
So what happens when hospitals don't have enough blood available for emergencies and treatment?
Well, of course, that's what we're trying to avoid. And that's, why we call these shortages, to make sure that no hospitals have to be put, in that situation. Because we do know that this isn't unique to the Red Cross. The Red Cross is the biggest supplier of blood in the nation, supplying about 40% of the nation's blood supply. But this is happening to blood collectors across the nation. So what really is important is for people to come out, because if it gets to a point where hospitals don't have the blood they need, they're going to have to start, people have elective surgeries, things like that. Those are going to have to be put off because we need to prioritize the emergencies. And we know summer is also a difficult time because it's when we see a lot of trauma. So we do see the increase of need for blood a lot in the summer as well.
Wow. So let me ask, are donations, does American Red Cross and other organizations, are they still paying people a certain amount of money? If so, what is that? What's the incentive for donors who, for the only reason they have or would be motivated is by money, and or if they don't have an emergency situation with a family member? But are you guys incentivizing people?
Yeah,
like they used to.
Yeah,
back in the day?
we always have some sort of incentive going on. It's the Red Cross, it's a nonprofit. So, we don't have a ton to give, but right now we are doing a $15 gift card to Fandango, and that runs through the end of the month. So that'll go through July 31st. So if there's any, summer blockbuster movies you want to see, that would be a great way to go do it. Just donate blood, and then you'll have some money to get that ticket. And then starting
hold on, Mara, let's back up. You say you have $15 now. Come on, you talk real fast now. Let's talk. Yes, let's go back to the $15. You have $15 for what now?
So I'm so sorry. It is a $15 Fandango movie ticket by email.
I thought you said
so. If
that.
there are any movies that you want to see, you can go donate blood, and then you'll essentially get a ticket to go see that movie.
Well, so I'm a member of Fandango, where it's like a monthly membership. They have incentives, sort of the theaters. There's one at New City that I'm active in, I guess. But I'm going to play Angel's Advocate. Is that enough to get people excited to come in this heat, to get motivated? I mean, or is this the reason that people are not donating because the incentives are too low?
Well, I can't speak to, what other blood banks are doing and their incentives. But I do know that starting in August, we'll also do a $20 Amazon gift card. And there, we always have additional incentives too for platelets, because we're also really in need of platelet donors. And donating platelets you can do much more frequently. And we typically have $20 or so gift cards for that.
What's a platelet?
Like I said,
What's a blood platelet?
blood platelets, it's just a particular type of blood. So blood is broken down into 3 different components. There are red blood cells, there are platelets, and there are plasma. Platelets are typically used for, most commonly for cancer patients, for those going through treatment. And so we need a lot of platelets because they don't last on the shelves as long. They have about a 5-day shelf life. So we're constantly needing to replenish platelets. So we do sometimes have different incentives for platelet donations, if that's something that people are interested in as well.
Okay. And so a typical donation is, give us the blood types.
Yeah. So the different types of donations you can do, and every person is unique. They have different blood types. We've of course got A, B, B, and O, and there are negative and positives and different variations of that. You don't need to know your blood type if you're coming in to donate. That's a good thing. And it's a great way to find out your blood type. If you're interested in learning it, we'll tell you when you make your donation. But the different types of blood donations you can do, you've got a whole blood donation is the most common, and that's what I'm referring to with this $15 Fandango gift card, is if you make a whole blood donation. That is probably what you think of as you're thinking of a blood donation. It's simple. You're in and out. The actual needle in your arm only takes about 10 minutes or less. So it's really not, as scary as people might think it is. So that's a whole blood donation. There are also power red donations, which would be twice the amount of red blood cells, but we put your platelets and your plasma back into your body. So we're taking double red blood cells, which are typically what is used often in situations of trauma. We're grabbing those red blood cells to be replenished. So that's a great one for right now if people are eligible for a power red donation, which is you just have to be a negative blood type. And there are some other eligibility requirements on weight and height, but we can get into those later. And then there are platelet donations, which is what I just mentioned, for typically used for cancer treatments. And then there's also plasma donations that you can do. I don't believe that we actually collect plasma in the Red Cross in Illinois, but there might be people in other parts of the country that do collect plasma.
So whether it's platelet, blood type, or plasma, it all comes out the same arm?
Yep, it all comes out the same. There are sometimes we use machines. So when I was talking about the platelet donations and how that's typically the blood product that is used for cancer patients, that's a little bit longer donation process, because what they have to do is they take your platelets out and then they put back in your red blood cells and your plasma, just so that you're feeling good, because we're not taking as much blood product total from you. We're only grabbing those platelets, and then we put the red blood cells and the plasma back in your arm, and so it doesn't affect you as much.
Wow. And so what do you have demographics that break down where donations are coming from? Are they coming from Black communities, white communities, Hispanic, Indian?
Yeah, we do. I think one thing that we have really been prioritizing in the past few years, and we're still working to do, is we need to have a blood donor. We need our blood donors to match the blood recipients, right? And so it's really important that we have a diverse blood supply to work with. And so we need people of all different ethnicities, all different backgrounds to come out and donate. Because, for example, I think we've talked about sickle cell disease before. Someone, that needs blood products for sickle cell disease is going to have a much better blood match receiving blood from someone that looks like them as opposed to a different type. So it's so important that we have all different types of people, all ethnicities, all diversities come out and donate blood, because that's how the people that are receiving the blood are going to get the best match for them in their care.
Wow. So I'm just surprised to hear that there's a shortage at this point. I've heard it before. You guys, it's not like, let me say this in the most respectful way that I can. The American Red Cross, you know what your annual budget is, roughly?
I wouldn't be able to speak to that, as that is, that's high. But I will take full acknowledging that we are a very large organization. We've got thousands of volunteers and employees across the country. We've got 5 lines of service. So yes, we have a lot going on at the Red Cross, and blood collection is one of our biggest lines of service. And I know that, right? So the issue it is when it comes to blood donation is, like I said, blood only lasts on the shelves for a few weeks.
Right.
So, it's important that we consistently are replenishing that blood supply. We need people to come out all the time, because this isn't something that we can stockpile, and blood isn't something that can be manufactured. And so it's so important that we have people coming out. I know people might think, oh, I've never needed blood, but I guarantee you someone you know or love has needed blood in their life. There are so many different reasons why someone could need blood, from sickle cell patients to cancer patients to new mothers to premature babies to trauma patients. And it's so important that we have that blood on the shelves to make sure it's available for patients when they need it most.
Oh, absolutely. And for the record, go donate blood. My church, I have I come from a relatively large congregation, and this we do blood drives at least quarterly. Just FYI,
thank you.
Yeah, we're really big. So I'm big on it. But I would also encourage the Red Cross in this particular category of wonderful service, because your annual budget is $3.3 billion in expenses, and you guys generate $3.9 billion in revenue, and your net assets are $4.1 billion in assets. And so in my humble request, so we can avoid this, we speak truth here on WVON. This is a Black radio station. We don't sugarcoat anything. Up the gift cards to, it can be a Visa or Amazon, up that, and I think you'll see a particular drive, because I remember back in the day, back in the 70s and the 80s, they were giving out 10s and 20s, and there are people, young folk in particular, who are struggling, and I've seen movies and television shows where they have given blood over the last several days because they were trying to help pay their rent. I would do that. You guys are working with a lot, and a lot of those monies come from volunteers or donors, private donors, some from the federal government, et cetera, foundations. And with an operating budget of $3.3 billion in expenses, and you're generating $3.9 billion in revenue, that's pretty significant. That's my 2 cents. I'm not the community manager such as yourself, but bring that to them. I'll play this clip. Say, listen, I'm talking to this guy, and he was like giving our budget numbers. He says, you should raise the gift. Everyone is not in an altruistic mindset. Some people are in a desperate situation, and I believe the Red Cross and other blood banks have given similar. And I just think it's important to incentivize people now, because it's a new generation, and they want money. We should not be having any blood shortage in America at all, because really, for me, it's like a trigger. Like, for me, we don't give out money in my church. We get snacks and cookies though, because after we take a pint of blood, et cetera. But I think you should do that, in my humble opinion.
Well, thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, I think of course, like if we would love to be able to pay people, exactly what they would like to be able to come out and donate blood. But again, we are a nonprofit. We have 5 lines of service. We help people after disasters. We help people overseas, serving in the military. There are a lot of different aspects of which we help people in the nonprofit that we are. So I appreciate your suggestion on that.
We are on the same page at Ms. Myra from the Red Cross. We definitely appreciate you, and hopefully you'll come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for getting the word out there. And folks that are interested in donating blood, the best way to do that is to go to redcrossblood.org. All you need to do is type in your zip code, and it'll pop up the closest blood drives near you. We would really appreciate everyone coming out.
All right. You heard her. Thank you so much, Myra Thompson, community manager for the American Red Cross. All right. We appreciate you. All right. In the meantime, in between time, we will take a break. We'll be back here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. in.
More from Matt Mcgill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Girl, where have you been? My laundry got backed up. I had so much laundry I felt like the help, but I found the truth.
You became a Jehovah's Witness?
I found Clean Break. For less than the price of a good meal, Clean Break washed and folded my clothes and had them smelling fresh the way I like.
It's gotta be inexpensive. You know all the hookups.
Darn Skippy. I wasn't about to pay no $100 for 2 bags of clothes, and I caught the WVON discount.
Girl, sign me up. I'm sold.
Try Clean Break today for just $25 per bag, including pickup and delivery. Call 708-980-7886 or visit cleanbreak.com. That's KLEANBREAK.com. Clean Break, fresh clothes, more free time. Get your weekends back.
So fresh and so clean break.
When you play the 7X Bingo Multiplier Instant Ticket from the Illinois Lottery, you play with purpose. Over $8.4 million has been raised to help support homelessness programs in Illinois. Purchase one to help raise even more. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community that we can shop, dine, and support throughout the year. These businesses are the economic engine that drives our neighborhoods. Wintrust knows that. That's why they're Chicago's bank and why they're encouraging you to shop local. Keep listening for the Wintrust Community Business Spotlight campaign. With Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. Now back to Matt Mcgill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, Chicago, we are black. Blackity, 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 black. Here on the Talk of Chicago, I'm sitting in for Matt. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, I looked up the salary of the American Red Cross president. You know, the organization that makes... listen, we should give blood to the American Red Cross, we should give blood. Just give blood, folks. Do what you got to do. Give blood. It's needed because our loved ones, don't ever want to be in a situation where we need it. Blood transfusion is nothing to play with. It's no joke. And we want to promote that as much as we can. I will never, ever, ever make light of how valuable and important that is to donate and give blood all across the board. And all that good stuff. But in the meantime, in between time, this has been wonderful. I'm not sure if I'll be here tomorrow or not, but let me go through these wonderful comments here. And again, great shout out to Kim Johns, Quincy Friesen, Jalen Smith, MC Robinson, Kobe Michael Jones, Stephen, Just One Spark Starks, Dacia Dixon. Who else is sneaking on here, peeping on here? A.E. Calvin, what's good? What's good? Alonzo Echoes, what's happening? What's happening? You know what I'm saying, Brother Wall? Truth is what it is. And so, Renee Criswell, you know I love your political astuteness is on par with the rest of them. Thank you so much, Sybil Jackson. You are appreciated. Renee said the United States demonizes places they want to attack. They call them terrorists, as we and our number one allies terrorize them. Wow, that's a strong one. You hear that, Tony Snow? That's a mic drop like you would not believe. Alma McIntosh, what is good? What is good? What is good? And listen to my girl Chrissy. She makes an excellent point. China's is gaining big time from this foolishness, along with the rest of the world realigning their trading partners, moving forward, removing the America from the equation regarding trade. That's why you should be on WVON on Facebook Live. Facebook Live, I'm here to tell you this stuff is real and it's really shifting. It's actually accelerating the global trajectory or transitioning of power as it relates to America. People, with us not handling Iran like Trump said we were going to do it and actually being exposed, it is not cute. And lives are being lost. We're only getting a perspective from America. Imagine what's going on over there in the Gulf states. It is nothing nice, Tony Snow. And Kobe Michael Jones, you know exactly what it looks like. You know, it's a substantial scenario. And you're right, Tony Snow, the same game we played with Iran. You know, the stuff does not add it up. So, so and Carol Carter, I told you, I love you, Carol Carter, and there's nothing you can do about it. We don't have to agree on everything. You know it's love. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. But in the meantime, in between time, I must go because we have a dynamic. It's going to be great, but I'm not sure how dynamic it's going to be since I'm not going to be her guest. I'm not going to be joining none other than Dr. LaDonna Ray on the upcoming Atiba and LaDonna show. You know, I'm just a fill-in Ken for right now, but you're going to enjoy LaDonna Ray. She's always well prepared. She's a dynamic individual. We love her as well. And we're going to celebrate all of our co-hosts, Miss Carol Carter, and whether we agree with them or not, but it's love all around. And family members, we don't have to agree on everything, but we're going to love each other never the same. We're going to agree to disagree. And most importantly, as I do, coming from you, I'm going to continue to grow because believe it or not, Facebook Live, callers, guests, I am learning all the time from you. I am proud when my callers call and you're dropping jewels. So along with that, let me thank Brother Robert on the boards, Sonia Walls, and happy belated birthday to Sonia Walls, my producer, our producer. We love her to life, to life, to life, to life. And we celebrate our new generation of leaders and wonderful voices, people who are leading the station, none other than the one and only Logan Page. Until next time, we'll be black here on the Talk of Chicago. Up next, LaDonna Ray on the afternoon show. Till then, shalom, shalom.
See you in a few minutes, Ken. I'm Logan Page, and here are your news headlines. NAACP to announce independent autopsy findings in Nolan Wells case. Hegseth faces protests during National Guard ceremony. Preliminary hearing begins for singer David. And actress Kaylee Hoddle, dead at 18. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
PIN News Now. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says U.S. operations against Iran will continue until President Trump's objectives are met.
The president is always looking for the diplomatic off-ramp. President Trump wants to end it with a peaceful